Hello snowboarders of the internet, I'm your host Avran LeFeber, and in this video we're going to be going across accessories and how trashed they get over 100+ day season. Now everything I have here has lasted more than one season. In fact, some of this stuff is rather old by most people's standards, and yet because I've taken care of it, it still lasts. Accessories tend to be that one grouping of gear that if you take really good care of it, you will have it for an immense amount of time. So let's just dive into it, go through my helmet, my gloves, my goggles, my locks, my boot dryers, and kind of just see where the wear and tear is on everything and what you can expect owning this for multiple seasons or for riding 100+ days in a season. Arguably the most important accessory you'll ever own is your helmet. This can help prevent you from becoming a vegetable, and really no one wants to be a spunion, trust me on that. So the big thing to note is, if you impact with it once and it's a decent enough impact, throw it out, buy a new one. They're $100-$150. It's worth it in there. If you get like those small little dingers from just pushing your head into a tree branch or something when you're going through the trees, something that does not structurally damage the helmet, then you don't really have to worry about it. This helmet is 2 years old. It is the Giro Emerge. 2 years is about the lifespan of a helmet. So I will be replacing this relatively soon. I've got to go down to one of the helmet shops here in town and try some stuff on, as well as the goggle store, and just see what works for me. But typically I try to get the same helmet. So the helmet has no impacts on it, but you can always just sort of check in there to see if there's any compression or anything in the foam and whatnot. 2 years is the lifespan of a helmet. This has done a really good job. It does have surface scratches, but nothing major. There's no big dents or anything in it. It's done its job for what I needed it to do. It's time to go replace it with something that's more up to date, with maybe MIPS in it or more modern technology. But by and large, haven't hit my head with this, so thank God. 23 concussions after 26 years of snowboarding. So you do the math on that. I was getting almost one a year. Kind of an idiot. Take care of your brain, people. It's really important. You do not want to end up like me. When it comes to gloves, I've been just using two brands lately, which is Drop and Howl. My Howl ones are more insulated. These are my cold weather ones. The Drop ones are a little lighter insulated glove. And these Tacomas are, I think, 5 years old. And they have held up. I mean, I finally blew through the finger here, as well as on the side of the finger there. But these, for a glove that I probably ride in almost 100 days a year, they've done really, really well. You got your normal wear and tear. You take care of the leather on there. You treat them well, they'll go well. Drop's been making gloves forever. It's what they're known for. I don't really hesitate to recommend Drop. With Howl, they're a glove-only company. They know what they're doing. When this glove came out, this was, I think, their most expensive or second most expensive glove. It's leather, it's insulated. It has held up through a lot of really cold, bitter days and kept my hands warm, which is nice. I do have some minor circulation issues in my hands. Now they're starting to show their age. The little index finger cover on both gloves has actually started to separate from the seam. It's still more of a cosmetic thing, but this is just to stop your edge when you're doing grabs and whatnot. Middle finger on this one actually has a small tear through it. The thumb has also separated on my left hand. I kind of expected that to happen. I'm gonna replace these this year, turn these into backups. I did at one point have to sew the wrist gaiter that just pulls across. It had pulled apart on me. Overall, I've been very happy with these gloves. I wish Howl would still be making these. These were super, super durable. But alas, they aren't making a high-end glove like this anymore. They've moved on to more price point stuff and stuff that's in tune with fashion trends. These were never a fashionable glove, let's be honest. One of the comments that I get every year, at least 3 or 4 times, is how someone's board got stolen. I don't know if they're looking for a free handout or what, or sympathy from me. I don't have sympathy for someone that can't afford a $15 lock. With the way that I do product testing, I usually take 2 boards with me and I lock one up right in the base area, right by the chairlift, so I can go ride for a couple hours, come down, swap it out midday, hop over on it. This Bakota lock is probably close to 20 years old, and it died in a windstorm this year. It's just high winds at A base, and it grabbed the board, flipped it around the rack, had so much tension from it, it snapped the housing apart. The lock was still on the board. It was just stretched out, cracked apart. So I retired it, bought this Dakine one. It's the exact same thing as this Bakota one. I mean, 4 numbers, little cable, fits in your pocket. You don't have to worry about it. The big thing with board thieves is they're creatures of opportunity. If you take that opportunity away from them, they can't steal from you. Food for thought, people. 15 bucks. I think maybe with inflation it's like 20, but overall, this works great. I love it. It retracts. This one, seen better days, but after 20 years at 15 bucks, I paid less than $1 a year for it. I really don't care. In fact, I think this was a gift given to me. It was used, but you can hear it rattling around in there. Get a lock, people, especially if you're riding a high-end board that someone could steal from you. 15 bucks for peace of mind. I mean, yeah, you can reef on this thing and probably break it apart, but if someone's reefing on it in the base area, probably going to draw some attention. Been doing this for years. No one's stolen a board from me. So when it comes to boot dryers, I use the Dry-Sure boot dryer, and what I do is I leave these in my boots overnight. When I get to the mountain, I pull them out, put them in my around the town boots, slide them right in. They'll dry those out, keep them dry, whatever, while I go and ride, get done, slip them back into the snowboard boots. They're good. Every now and then, you got to take it out, let it sit in the sun just to reactivate it. These were a promo that was actually given to me to do a review of, and I kind of thought, well, maybe they'll be okay and whatnot. Here we are, I think 5, 6 years later. I use these all the time. The shell housing has gotten a little bit weaker on these, so that does come apart from time to time. Sure, I could probably wrap a little duct tape on it. I don't really care when I have to click these back together. These do work. These are great. You're not having to worry about plugs. You don't have to plug it in. It's not heating up the liner with a convection heat expanding it. It's not forced air just circulating boot stank through your place. It just locks in, does a good job. Really couldn't complain about it. So this is the goggles that I use. Pretty much it's all Dragon PCVX or XVX or VX2 or whatever the hell they call them. They all have some weird name. And then I've got a set of Oakleys over here with the prism lens that are just my super low light lenses. Honestly, I can't remember the names of these. I know that this Dragon goggle isn't even made anymore. Neither is that blue lens. They've completely discontinued it, which sucks because that blue lens was my favorite sunny day lens ever. But what are you gonna do, right? So by and large, all my frames are in really good shape. There's a little wear on the foam here and there on some of them. And some of the goggles, they have like surface scratches on the lenses. I have one set of lenses that are actually toast. These just in 2020, they just shit the bed on me on a super cold, humid day. It fogged up. I was trying to unfog them, and when I flexed it, it kind of scratched the internal lens. I take super crazy care of my goggles. Like when I'm done with them, it's right into the bag after they've dried out, or if they have to dry out, I put them on the front seat of the car. I do not hang them from the rearview mirror. That's actually how they dry out. They crack in the sun. I leave them on the front seat just as I drive home. You know, and I've got the heat on. I let them just air out. Then I put them back in the bag. That way they're not falling around in my backpack getting scratched up. Most of these goggles still have the original lens. The Oakley is the only one that doesn't, because I'm not sure what happened, but the lens separated on me. So I found a replacement lens on Amazon actually for 20 bucks. And I was like, 20 bucks, totally worth it. Didn't have a problem with that. But yeah, I've got different colored lenses for a multitude of options. So these were my favorite bright day goggle lens combo. Fortunately, they got a small scratch. It kind of just irritates me. It's not big. It's just enough that I notice it. They've been relegated to a backup, so I go with the full black actually now for the super, super bright days. Then if it's kind of overcast but still sunny, I go, this is more my medium lens one. This one probably gets the most use out of any goggle in there, besides my flat light for powder days. I've got 2 flat light lenses. I do think the Prism is actually better than the Dragon's flat light lens. It brings out the color contrast more, hence why I actually replaced the lens 2 years ago. I think 2 seasons ago I replaced it, and I use those just super flat light days. They just help with that contrast in the snow. This is more like your medium flat light day. The other thing is if I'm riding and I gotta go back to the car, swap out boards or something, if the goggles are starting to fog, they're having any issues, I'll take that pair off, put them in the car, grab another pair. Hence why I have 2 flat light lenses, because usually it's a pow day when I start to have real bad goggle fog. I can grab that next pair, use them for the rest of the day, not worry about it. I do have a backup like medium light black lens. It's not as dark as that one, and it's kind of in between the flat light and this one in my opinion. I use that periodically. Like I said, this is more of a backup lens because it's scratched. But my goggles, I don't really replace them all too often. Like, I will literally run them till the foam is falling off and I'm like, okay, it's time to get a new pair. I see people that are like, I gotta get a new pair every year, and I'm like, what happened to your old pair? Like, if you buy a good pair with quick change lenses so you can pop them out, you know, you can pick up a couple of pairs of spare lenses in the off season for dirt ass cheap, and there you go. The reason I run so many different goggles is I just like to be able to grab and go. That's how I am. I'm in a situation where I can afford multiple pairs of goggles. All the bands on these are still super taut. I never have to, they haven't stretched out on me. I am a goggle strap under the helmet guy, so that's part of the reason they don't stretch out on me. I really don't have any issues. I do love the Dragon Quick Change. I also love that they do that vented armor along the top. That just means it's less foam that can break down. Like, the Oakleys actually have foam up there, so snow tends to stick on that a little bit more. It vents better with the Dragons. Once again, these are older pairs and they really do last. I usually can pick them up from my friends that win contests, and there's always goggles. They've got goggle sponsors, and I'll be like, yo, you want to get rid of them? And they're like, yeah, give me 20, 50 bucks, whatever. And I'll give them that, and they'll give me a set of goggles. And so as I said at the start of the video, accessories tend to last the longest with me. I really don't trash them as much as my other gear. And if you take care of them, they should last longer for you, especially goggles, you know, the boot dryers, and make sure you get a lock. Gloves are kind of hit or miss. I understand that certain materials shred faster, and if you're one of those people that's really dragging your hand or you're grabbing a super sharp edge, you might blow them out sooner. That's why I think a thicker leather glove tends to be better. But hey, if you're on a glove budget, pick up a set of Kinkos from like Home Depot and slap some Snow Seal on it, you'll be fine. With the helmet, 2 years max. You want to rotate it out even if you haven't had an impact and just get rid of it. It's not something that you want to keep around. They do have a shelf life on it. Hopefully this video has taught you what to look for or what you can expect if you take care of your equipment. If you don't, all bets are off. I have a friend that literally buys new goggles like every 6 months because for some reason he likes to drop them on their lenses. I don't know why, but he will do it right in front of me, and I'm like, oh my God. He is the reason I do not give him goggles anymore. Don't be that guy. Take care of your shit. It'll last you a long time. You don't have to worry about having to upgrade it every year. I mean, I have goggles here, obviously, that are older, that are still solid, that I can still use, and I like them. They work. All right, did you learn how trashed your accessories can get in a season? Good. Hopefully you don't trash it. Anyways, if you're new here, remember to subscribe, click the bell, get those notifications. That way you're not missing any of the videos we got coming out for all you snowboarders of the internet. And if you really like what we're doing over here and you want to support us further, swing on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP and become a member. Sure, I could tell you more here, but I got a video over there that explains it so much better. As always, I've been your host, Avran LeFeber, and I'll see you in another video.